Hey, that'll go. So now, so yes, the police, and I think I saw the chief here.
I have my counsel tonight.
Okay, great.
My TV message you this morning.
Anyway, you have good representation here. At any rate, so yeah, the police budget is being trimmed 117,000, and I
Yes.
believe that's 2 positions.
The 2 new patrol officer positions that the chief requested, and it's a reduction of approximately 8,000 to his overtime line.
Right. His overtime request. It still is a little bit above last year's overtime.
It's above fiscal 15's appropriation, yes.
Not a great deal. So, all in all, the town hit their target, and the school hit their target right off the bat. And I don't know if I don't know if you'd like to trade places with anybody from the schools, but thank you for the work you did on that allocation of cuts. It was nice job.
Thank you.
Ted, before we leave the table, could I just echo what you said, and really on behalf of Tom Hurley and Dennis Cohane and myself, Anne Marie and together with Amy and all the department heads really put all of this together based on priorities that we gave them, but they did it at a time when we're dealing with a huge snow and ice emergency situation, and it really took working almost around the clock to get this done, to pull together all the storm emergency management personnel and revise the plans that we've got in place for that, on top of dealing with people coming into the office, being on the phone, trying to do the normal day-to-day functions that still go on, including all the development projects that are going on, including trying to hire 2 new people for the selectman's office, including trying to deal with employee and other issues at town hall. So I think it was yeoman's work in a short period of time, and we really the board really owes Anne Marie a great deal of gratitude, and also to Amy Dexter, our town accountant, for the just an incredible job they did. And we appreciated your comments at the Warrant Committee meeting last night in behalf of Anne Marie.
Thank you. Thank you.
Okay. Nice work. So, the best for last, I guess, schools. And, there's, so I've put them up. There's a $41 million request, and we've had to cut that request by $500,000 in order to fit the budget together. I do want to hear from either Leroy Walker, our school committee chair, or Glenn Pavlicek, our assistant super for business, or Mary Gormley, our superintendent. But I do want to say that in the context of the budgets that I've seen submitted by the school before, that not only, it feels hard to cut this one because it was restrained to begin with, and it made a lot more sense in the way it was presented than previous issues, and it was just this is a hard cut, and I appreciate the school's willingness to tackle this, to fit this into a plan this year. And again, I hope there's some Chapter 70 money that materializes that we might mitigate some of this. But anyway, I don't know if you'd like, I don't know, somebody take over.
That would be me.
Grand.
This, as I think we're starting to get the flavor and the theme here, this was an unusual budget year for a number of reasons. We're very proud of the budget process that we have. It's led by the superintendent and her leadership team, and both the budget and any required reductions list are built from the bottom up with the full leadership team present for all of those discussions. So we're confident that when we get those recommendations, that they are thoughtful and that they are the best strategy and plan for ensuring that the direct instruction that goes on in the classroom is as much as we can manage it untouched. That's our primary objective. The second objective is to maintain the incredible diversity of programs and quality of programs that we have across the district. And many people will tell you that the kinds of programs that we offer in terms of extracurricular activities rival some of the independent schools in the area, even one right down the street. So we're really proud of that. And I think this year, the cooperation that we've received from the Warrant Committee, the leadership that we've seen from Ted and Paul, has really been appreciated. But as you heard Katie say and Anne Marie say, I think this year we've seen a level of cooperation across the town between the Board of Selectmen, the school committee, the town administrator, the town accountant, that it's looking more and more like the one team that we all really are. And so as you say, this is a difficult cut for us to make, but in the scheme of things, we're fully supportive of the plan that we've developed, which, in fact, the use of free cash that you outlined has allowed the schools to accept and support a $500,000 cut rather than a $1 million cut, which would have been devastating. It would have created a school district that didn't meet any of those objectives that I outlined. So I think a plan which says we'll support an override for firefighter medical expenses this year, an additional use of free cash that avoids dramatic cuts for both the town and the schools, and the education for and support for a general override next year is a plan that makes good sense. So we can detail the $500,000 in cuts a couple of ways. We can talk about each cut at each level, or we can summarize the cuts by district-wide, middle, elementary, high school. So which would you prefer?
Well, I think would be responsible if I put up your list, unless you want to just talk about it in generalities. I mean,
No, you can put the list up, and
if you'd like,
we'll have
you could do that. It's
Superintendent and Dr. Pavlicek speak to those cuts.
well, now I got to find the list. Jeez. All right.
We also have it available. Yeah.
Okay, where's my Zoom? Okay. This is the unhappy list here. I don't know if you, I don't think this really substitutes for your PTO meetings, but
40-page presentation.
right. But I think I do hope that some of this can be restored if the state comes through. If it doesn't, the state doesn't come through, I don't think there's a lot we can do except, urge you to. And I know that with Glenn's experience and yours, that from your days on the Warrant Committee, that if there's any resource within the school system that you could bring to bear, you've probably already done it. So at any rate, there are a total of, I don't know if you want to talk about this or me, but there are a total of 7.9 full-time equivalent positions here. And aside from this bottom 53, 58, $85,000, the rest of it is all personnel. And that's difficult. You explained a little bit about what happens when you ask a teacher to cut from full-time to 4/5 time. It doesn't work very well. So I guess I would hope that you'd be able to come up with some multiples of these $9,000 pieces. And certainly we'll be on the lookout too, you know. But anyway, so I don't know if I have anything else to add to that, except that it's when you try and fund educational budgets, you never want to lose a program or an offering or anything like that, because that kid waiting until next fall to take that course is the one whose progress through life and as a human is being interrupted. So it's difficult to have that lack of stability, and it's difficult, you know, to maintain morale and stability if you can't offer that. And I would hope that, you know, next year some of these positions, if they are lost, can be restored, and if I find a way that town government can figure out how not to go through these cycles of override and then a decline in their budgets, because we do have a problem, and the people should understand, even if you have, you know, for simplicity's sake, 4% increase in budgets, and you only have a 3% increase in revenues, on a $100 million budget, you're going to lose $1 million a year. And that's going to add up pretty quickly, and most folks in my chair are going to run out of their bag of tricks is going to be empty, 10 years ago. So it's a problem, and, if we live in this kind of town, I really think we should think of as a successful override as a celebration of who we are, rather than as a burden. It should just be part of our approach. We like it here where we are. We like our schools and we like our town, and if we want to keep it that way, then got to pay. And our job is to make sure that you're not paying more, and I think we're doing more than you should, and I think we do a pretty good job. So I don't know. Sorry to digress. We're talking about the schools, but anyway. So I don't know if you'd like to add anything to that.
We'll briefly go through those cuts, Ted. And I want to, before we begin, to thank the Warrant Committee, and also when Ted referred to the PTOs, we developed this budget with the leadership team, but every Tuesday morning we meet with the Finance Subcommittee of the School Committee, led by School Committee member Mary Kelly, with Leroy Walker and Mike Zulis, and then reporting back to the full committee. So we go through these cuts and eliminations and reductions. We go back to the leadership team, we go back to the Finance Subcommittee, and then Ted referred to, we go out to the parents. And so it speaks to the community. My observation over the years, now to have parents and citizens understand their school budget is huge. So there's an interest in the town budget, the school budget, understanding who the warrant committee is, and they understand the process. So we're going to just go through these cuts and detail them for you.
Okay, great.
A reduction in 4th and 5th grade art from 45 minutes to 30 minutes. We've found out over the years that when you have the 4th or 5th graders having art for 30 minutes by the time, if you reflect back on your own education or your children's, by the time you set up for an art class, from the art director to the art teachers, this makes a huge impact. There'll be a reduction to 30 minutes in 4th and 5th grade art classes from 45. Kindergarten, we have a full-day kindergarten program. Again, it speaks to the parents and guardians in the community. 320 children choose full-day kindergarten. We have a full-day kindergarten grant. They pay tuition, and we saw them the other night, the parents and guardians of the rising kindergartners, and they want what the parents and guardians of an 11th grader want, an outstanding education. One of the reductions that we're putting forward is a reduction of kindergarten art and music to every other week. And then the third reduction at the elementary, it's going to be the elimination of course in the 5th grade. Historically, we've explained to the warrant committee who understands and to the parents, once you eliminate a program, we're not coming back putting new programs, so you try to keep a program alive, even if it's with a half a teacher. We had chorus for years in the Milton Public Schools in the 4th and 5th grades. We reduced it to just 5th grade. Now the elimination is going to be of chorus in the 5th grade. So there'll be no elementary chorus classes. They'll have music, but no chorus classes. Also, another reduction of 0.5 is a preschool coordinator. 10 years ago, we had one preschool class that was housed 10 to 12 years ago at Milton High School. You now have a preschool that has 4 to 5 classes housed at the Collycott School with an array of services being serviced to children when they turn 3 and they have special education needs. The law requires that you provide services, and we're finding that with the growth of that program, we need somebody to coordinate that program and all of the services. That was in our proposed budget, and again, we're not going to be able to fund that next year. We have one of the programs that we've been able to build since the school building project, building special education programs within the school district for children who have special needs who could be going out to private placements, transportation of up to an hour either way. We're building those programs in the district. The response of parents and guardians to have their children in the home schools and the neighborhood schools is phenomenal. These parents can see out of district placements in schools, and they choose to stay in the district. This reduction is going to be one of 2 special ed teachers at the Glover School who teach in the STEP class at the Glover School, one of our programs that the children could be out of district, but again, we're servicing those children in district, and again, it is costly to begin these programs and to staff them, but much more costly to have the children go out of district. More importantly, better for the children and their families to provide those services, outstanding services in district. At the middle school, I often refer to one of the jewels of the district. Anyone who's had a middle schooler ever in their life, or met a middle schooler, knows that the team approach at the Pierce Middle School, having a highly successful middle school is really important. And this is a reduction that we've talked about, and when funds come back, this is always a priority, but it's up to be eliminated next year to take history off team at 7th and 8th grade. Last night, the middle school principal eloquently detailed the impact of what this will mean to parents and guardians going to the middle school, meeting with all the teachers of their child at one time, and supporting those middle schoolers through that time in their life. This is really the first time we're breaking into the team approach at the middle school. That would be a reduction of 1.0 teachers. At the middle school and the high school, we have 2 vice principals at each level. Another reduction will be the elimination of one of the vice principals at the middle school. That's an administrative position. And then what we would do is hire a dean. Again, we detailed for the community last night that the dean would be a Unit A teacher position, would not be able to do evaluation, supervision, mentoring of teachers. That really would be more of a discipline position, not with the array of responsibilities that a vice principal has. And again, the reputation of the middle and high school is in due great part to unbelievable children, talented teachers, but strong principals, vice principals, and assistant principals. And then Ted also referred to the .2 cuts. So what this would be at the middle school, we have 2 art teachers. So you have 900 children at the middle school, you have 2 art teachers. This .2 reduction would be, we would probably lose one of the art teachers. They're very talented. They would apply out of the district, and then we would post the position at a .8 position. Parent asked a great question last night, would they work 4 days a week? No, they would work every day, but their day would be shorter. So a teacher teaches 5 classes a day. We would reduce the offerings. An offering would be eliminated, and the teacher would teach 4 periods a day. And we're putting forth a .2 reduction in an art teacher at the PS school, a .2 reduction of a music teacher at the middle school, and a .2 reduction of a computer teacher at the middle school. Parents and guardians asked who those teachers would be. We have a RIF list district-wide, and again, we would go to that RIF list, and those are the teachers that would be impacted. And we've detailed with the community and with the Warrant Committee the impact that would have on the teaching staff in the Milton Public Schools.
Mary, what's a RIF list?
A RIF list would be in for all of the teachers in the district. They earn points for the number of years they're in the district, for the levels of their education, and for their evaluations. And so...
So it's a seniority list.
Right. What really involves more than just seniority, evaluation points and education points. So-
RIF stands for Reduction in Force, RIF.
Thank you.
So that's how that's how those decisions will be made. And again, the individuals might be K-12, it might not be somebody, because in those particular disciplines, people are certified K-12. Glenn's going to detail the high school and district-wide cuts and reductions for you.
Similarly, at the high school, you have some reductions in the electives, again, reducing some positions by fractional amounts from full-time to a .8. 4 different disciplines would be affected, again, art, music, and business technology, and family and consumer studies. In each of those cases, as we said, it's the same idea. You might, you would either lay off someone and repost it as a fractional position, or there would be some rearrangement that way. The world language is a full cut position. That would be actually a French language teacher at the high school. What it would affect would be not the French immersion students who have risen up through the elementary school, but it would eliminate, most likely eliminate, the option of starting French as a new language at the high school. We would keep Spanish and Latin, but we wouldn't necessarily be able to introduce French to new people who wanted to take it up as a language. These are all a little difficult to quantify exactly, because at the high school, the classes, we have an array of classes that we offer. Students opt for them, and then the ones that have the highest enrollment are the ones that tend to run. So there's a certain amount of student choice driving behind which courses are actually offered. So until students who are currently now choosing courses for next year make those choices, we won't be able to say specifically what it is that they will be cut, but this is how we're looking at this particular series of cuts at the high school.
And if I might add to that, the high school principal and the leadership team believes that the World Language 1.0 cut will impact advanced placement offerings at the high school.
At the district-wide, we would reduce one of our secretarial positions. This is probably the only place we think we could reduce one, is we have two secretaries who deal with the special ed population. It would be a loss of one of them. This would be a difficult cut to make. We have a lot of work involved with special ed students. This is everything from setting up transportation for the students to making sure their evaluations are properly recorded in the system, so we have records of how their IEPs are being satisfied and so forth. There is a lot of paperwork involved with special education, and cutting back support staff here is tricky. The final ones on here are frankly ones that once you put up, you never expect to get back. So level funding sped transportation, we made some, again, as Anne Marie mentioned earlier on, when you're making up a budget in October, you make certain assumptions as to what things are going to cost. Based on a recomputation of where our special education transportation is this year at this point, we're recommending a cut in our projection for next year of $27,000 in that line. That's just, again, a recomputation of what we think it's going to cost us. Copier replacement reduction, we have a lot of equipment that we have to replace every year. This is going to slow that replacement. Professional development, this is not professional development that we have in our advancement budget for some of our targeted areas, but these are some other professional development opportunities that we offer through the year. We will have to reduce some of that. And text materials and supplies, we added some text materials and supply money in our budget for this year. This would reduce that requested increase of text materials and supply money. Overall, our original budget that we put forward to you had 5.8 new positions in it, some for advancement, some for special education-driven needs, and so forth. This would actually cut 7.9, so it really is a net loss of 2.1 positions over where we are currently. One half position up here, the preschool coordinator, was actually on both lists. It was a proposed addition, which we've removed, but basically we would still be adding 2.8 positions for a combination of advancement and need, 5.3 positions for a combination of advancement and need, but then having to cut 7.4. So it's a lot of moving pieces. It's not just two people moving. When I say it's a net loss of 2.1 positions, it's not two people. It's a lot of people are involved, with some new positions being added and some others being lost. So it is a large shuffle. This is detailed, as has been mentioned. We've done presentations both to the Warrant Committee and to the PTOs as recently as last night. These are in more detail on the school committee pages, the budget pages of the miltonps.org website. So if people want to look at it more closely, all the detail behind this is posted there, so people can look at some of the impact statements and so forth associated with these cuts in more detail than we're saying tonight.
Well, thank you for that description. I do find cuts like this unfortunate, and all I can say is if the first $63,000 that comes back, it would be lovely if you could knock off all those .2s. But I hope there is a first $63,000 that comes back from the state. We'll see. At any rate, some of those .2s might need to be replaced next year. I'm sure you have your eye on that. I don't know. I want to thank you for the clarity of your budget this year, and it's a large effort each year, and it's really hard to forecast anything with such certitude, but it's quite an effort. It's impressive, and I don't know. Anyway, thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thanks.
So I don't think we have any other business. I do want to tonight. I do want to just mention, when, is Richard still here? Did he leave? No, he's still here. When we had the police in the other night, yeah, good. The closing shot in their presentation was a bleak picture, an atmospheric picture of a police cruiser coming through the snow, and it was entitled, "Now is the winter of our discontent," which is the famous opening line to Richard III. But I just wanted to let people know that, you know, that the actual quote has a greatly different meaning. It's more like, "Now is the winter of our discontent, made glorious summer by this son of York, and all the clouds that lowered upon our house in the deep bosom of the ocean buried." So I look forward to the spring, I look forward to town meeting, and I thank you all for your support. And I would hear a motion to adjourn.
Motion to adjourn.
All in favor? Okay, great. Thank you very much, everybody, for coming tonight.
You have become more cultured.
Oh, thank you.